Welcome everyone to the Race Report. What a week did we have here in the OCRL. A lot of news, a lot of talk, and we had an exciting race here at Talladega, and we're going to talk about it this evening. We got Jason Gaines alongside me with Scott Ickes. We got a special guest in the studio. Last night's winner at Talladega, the Aaron's 312 victorious driver, Jesus Andrade, is in the studio as well to talk about all the news and all the ongoings of this past week in the OCRL, including the Aaron's 312 that took place Tuesday night. How are you guys doing this evening?
I'm doing pretty good tonight.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
I'm good.
Great. Now, let's start with the biggest news coming off the Talladega Superspeedway. Rivalries coming in to the picture here. We're cutting down to the end of the season. We just got a few races left. The guys that are having the rivalries, luckily, are not in the points battle. So we're going to start with Jason, who is the points leader and a very strong factor in the points battle here. Are you afraid that we can go into Michigan next week? These two guys have at it, and you get involved. Is that something that you worry about, or do you have faith that these guys are moving on and that's the end of it?
Well, I would like to think that they're going to, cooler heads will prevail and they'll be able to, get things worked out before it gets to the racetrack. But you never know. I've always got to be on my toes, especially being a points leader and down to 3 races left. I'm going to keep everybody in check around me and just try to drive a safe, smart race and see what happens with it. But I think those two guys are mature enough, they'll get things worked out before it gets that far.
Now, the two of them, after the race last night, or Tuesday night, again, this is a Wednesday evening recording, so we generally refer to Tuesday night as last night, but the two of them confronted each other following the race, and needless to say, no fists were thrown, thankfully, but the words got pretty offensive. Things got real bad, and the official stepped in, took both drivers to the trailer, ended up telling them, after some threats were made about next week's race in Michigan, look, boys, you guys need to calm down. Yeah, there's boys have at it and everything, but we need to start taking charge before this gets ugly. We're watching both you guys the rest of the season. Any sort of altercation is going to lead to both you guys being parked. Scott, you've been in a situation with Silver where, in a sense, in the K&N Pro Series, where you've been put on probation. What do you think the mindset of these drivers will be, trying to prove that, James in particular has a lot to prove going into next season. I believe he's looking for a ride, making sure they can secure sponsorship. Austin, being a team owner in the Cup Series, they're trying to make their sponsors look good. As a team owner yourself, what do you think is important for, I guess, both drivers moving on from this situation?
I think you got to go out there and run a smart race. You don't want to, you might want to annoy the guy a little bit, maybe hit his bumper every now and again, or ride him, run him a little high up into the wall. But and when you get into the point where you're wrecking somebody, you almost have to respect retaliation. And with them being on probation now, that's going to be even tougher for anybody, for any driver out here to miss a race. Whether you're in the points or you're out there trying to get a win, you don't want to miss a race. So those guys are going to have to be real smart next week, and hopefully we have a good race. I wouldn't mind seeing them run hard with each other, but there's a really fine line between running hard and wrecking another guy.
Austin, with his run last night, despite all of the, I guess you could say, the attention afterwards, he drove a real good race, was one of the cars that ran up front most of the night, got off on pit strategy, ended up finishing, I believe it was 6th or 7th, but even still, he cut into the top 5 last night, and James didn't have the run that he'd like to have in Talladega, finished 8th after getting out of the race early due to an incident, and he's currently sits 9th in the standings with just 3 races to go. Tuesday night, the Aaron's 312, as we mentioned before, Jesus Andrade in the studio here with us. Jesus, you guys got a win, and how ironic that it was your 7th career win and your 50th career start, and it's ironic that not too many people go out and I guess you could say this is your golden season, so to speak. 50 years says a lot, and or 50, yeah, 50. The number 50 in anniversary means a lot, and this is your 50th start. You've been in the Nationwide Series. You get your 7th win. How special is it to get another win at a super speedway when you're really not considered being a super speedway driver to begin with?
I mean, it just means a lot. I mean, to me, it's a privilege. I mean, to get my seventh win on my 50th start, just I mean, it means so much. I can't put it into words. I really didn't find this out so a couple of minutes after I was answering questions for the press that it was my 50th start and my seventh win. I mean, it means so much, and I can't put it into words.
You started out the season with a 9th place finish at Daytona, 7th place finish in Atlanta. Your best finish to that point was a 4th place at Phoenix where you sat on the pole. You turn around, you get a 13th place and then a 6th place. And then to top it all off, you get back-to-back wins last week in Charlotte and then this week in Talladega. And the points picture is, I told you before the race, um, you asked me about points, and I said, don't worry about points. You need to go for wins. And you're 28 points back. There's 3 races left. Realistically, that's a climb getting to the points lead. But are you setting a goal for yourself where you want to be at season's end? I mean, Corey is 3rd in the points. He's 15 back. I guess that'd be 13 points behind him. Are you trying to get up to 3rd, possibly to make it a JRM 1, 2, 3 in the points, or do you have any goals that you've set for yourself that you want to get done before the season's in?
Well, a jam 1, 2, 3 points finish would be pretty nice, but no, I really don't have a goal. I mean, if this would count as a goal, I guess just to turn this entire season around and get, you know, show everyone we were a championship contending team. I mean, if you look back at all those races, I mean, Dover where we finished dead last. I mean, I think we led 36 laps in the beginning of the race and we got caught up in someone's incident. I mean, that could have been the race we could have turned our season around. And I mean, if what if factor does play into it. I mean, what if we could have gotten a lot better finish at Dover? What if I didn't have enough fuel when I did it at Charlotte, when I won at Charlotte? It's those factors, but nope, I really don't have, you know, some people say that after I re-signed with JRM that maybe that turned my season around because there was a bunch of talk of me leaving JRM and just because how the performance wasn't there, but I guess maybe when I signed that contract, I just laid back and said, you know what, I'm gonna drive my butt off and see if I could get any results. But if it's a goal, my goal is to win the rest of the races. I know it sounds funny, but that's my goal.
It's not funny at all. It's a pretty tall task. But you mentioned re-signing with Junior Motorsports, and the media really hasn't gotten to talk too much about that except for the initial announcement. But relay a little bit about what it means to you to re-sign for at least another season, and that includes the Sprint Cup Series season that's approaching. And with that, Jason Gaines, who's here in the studio as well, has announced that he will not be returning to Junior Motorsports, and the team really isn't. I guess you could say they're not excited. I don't know how to put that. They're not really trying to find a 3rd driver. They're just devoting all their efforts into myself and you, and we've announced that we're going to put you in the 5 car next week or next season. What does all that mean to you as far as like a driver? And I'm not speaking to you as a team owner. I'm speaking to you as a member of the media here. So what does that mean to you to be able to re-sign for another season at least?
I mean, it just takes a lot off my shoulders. I mean, it just says, in my opinion, it means, you know, I don't have to worry about sponsors because I got a great team owner that's gonna take care of them. I don't have to worry about people saying rumors that he's leaving JRM and he's gonna go to this. No, none of those dumb stuff. I mean, it just means a ton. And to get all that out of the way and clear the airway, I mean, it feels like, um, let's see, it feels like you're on top of the world. I mean, you just got to start climbing those stairs and try to get that championship.
Now, Jesus, in last night's race, we saw a lot of guys who were just working together with their team throughout the race. You three and JRM, me and Corey over at my team. I mean, do you think that was a plan between all the drivers, or were you surprised that we were the only two teams who really worked well together?
I thought everybody was against us. I mean, I thought everybody was gonna go team up against us, JRM, and try to beat us, and it really didn't turn out that way. It just turned out two great teams drafting up together, and it was between your team and JRM. And I mean, I was excited for the race. I thought we were gonna be three wide and stuff, and I guess it just didn't turn out as well. But I gotta give some props there to Corey Bunch. I mean, getting wrecked on the third lap, and I think he got a great finish out of it, top 5, and staying up there in points. I mean, I really gotta give him some props for that.
And speaking of Corey Bunch, he just walked in the door with our donuts. How you doing tonight, Corey?
I'm doing pretty good.
You want to talk about that wild race yesterday? I mean, that was a lot of the talk in the garage area was these new cars. Everybody expects them to be different, but you took a pretty hard lick there on lap 3 when you got turned and hit the inside wall, and the team patched up what they could of it, and you rallied on, and you didn't finish where you want to finish, granted that, but the run that you guys had there, leading the race with about 10 laps to go, it had to feel good to have that behind you. These cars were able to get back together. You were able to get back out there, and if it weren't for fuel, you guys would have given us the 3 teammates here of a good run for their money. Now, elaborate a little bit on maybe what was going through your mind when it first happened and how your attitude changed throughout the race.
Well, my plan usually for the super speedways is to just mind my own business, and just ride around for a little bit, try to get the car situated and everything. And for some person behind me, I think that was James. He's like, from what he told me, someone was pushing him, and he bump draft me in the backstretch. And I don't really like the bump draft early on, like at the very start of the race. And to avoid running the person over in front of me, I'd go to the outside and go into 3. Come out of the corner in turn 4, sure enough, I get hit in the quarter panel, and yeah, it was a pretty hard lick. The rear tires went up in the air, and my first thought was, well, there goes the championship. And then I elaborated on how dumb move that, whatever he did, how retarded it was, and to do that early on, and this and that, and you can hear it through the radio and everything. But that by then in the pits, I was thinking, just quit, just go ahead and just not worry about it now. But something was telling me just don't do it, because you'll get rewarded in the end. And sure enough, it paid off. Like I was thinking big picture points. That's a key thing. And I was honestly surprised on how that car handled, especially with how much damage it had, and the crew just did a great job patching that damage in the left rear. And I mean, with me and Scott just drafting, we was hitting like 204, 205 miles an hour in the straightaways, and I'm just thinking, dear God, this is relentless right here. But just imagine if the car didn't have damage. But I mean, I went through everything except for blowing a tire. Everything, like spinning out in the travel again and making that awesome 900-degree spin and saving the car. And I know Scott was a witness in that, and all the fans that watched it and everything. And yeah, it just a crazy race in general. And I'm just happy just to get the car home in one piece. But it kind of shot down my championship hopes a little bit. I mean, we'll just have to see what happens.
we know that we have a few good tracks going up here at Corey, and from last night, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I thought the conditions were pretty good. The tire they brought there was pretty good, and we didn't really have that much of a tire issue over with our team. I don't know about you guys, how you fared in that department, but I mean, I thought we had a pretty good race last night. It wasn't your classic side-by-side racing for 60 laps, but it was a good team effort between the five of us and from a couple other drivers.
Yeah, I know us at JRN, we had this, plan laid out ahead of time before the race. We got together and had a team meeting, and we were going to stick with the 4-tire deal. A lot of times at plate tracks, teams will do the alternating 2 tires and just to gain ground, but we all felt like with the tire that Goodyear brought this week that 4 tires would be the best for us, because they were falling off a little bit. Our times were when we had worn tires, and we felt like if we stuck to the plan, stick together, that we could make up that lost time.
And talking about sticking together, I want to jump in here real quick. Jason, you and I, lack of communication, both of our spotters and crew chiefs come over the radio and was telling us to pit right off turn 4, and I guess for the sake of wrecking each other, we all dived down to pit road so nothing would happen, and you and I entered faster than we should have, got busted. Good night, love ya.
Wow.
You and I got busted for speeding on pit road, and we knew that we had to go back in one more time, and Jesus, being a great teammate that he was, went down with us, and it ended up working out for us. We were able to get out there and gain time back and get back up to the front. When we got down there and got caught for speeding, and I know we all share radios. I mean, usually the lead car will all go off the lead car's crew chief and spotter throughout the race, so we all can hear each other and communicate. And I heard you come on the radio, and you was pretty mad, so to speak. You want to talk about maybe to the fans, and I have another question for you after this. Talk to the fans, maybe a little bit more about what was going on inside that helmet.
Yeah, it got a little hot under the helmet after that call. I mean, it was us 3, and I think Austin was with us coming off of 4. I get the relay message. I mean, we didn't have a split second to react, and I heard pit now, and I dove off the track and tried everything I could to get slowed down on that apron before losing it, and I think we went in 1 or 2 miles an hour too fast, and they busted us. But it's like you said, with Jesus being a great teammate, that's just the way it is here at JRM. We'll do everything we can to help each other out, and it paid off for us in the end.
And that leads me to my next question, and it's moving on from the race, but another big headline in the news this week was, unfortunately, you've decided that you're moving on from junior motorsports after this season to seek another opportunity, and we really haven't, the media hasn't caught up with you at all about the situation, and perhaps maybe your fans and anybody else at home who wants to know maybe some of the things that factored into that decision, and where have you made so far in talking to other teams? Like, are you close to signing something, or just fill us in a little bit about the factors that went into that, and maybe if you have anything lined up or any teams you're talking to right now.
Well, I mean, there's no animosity against anybody or anything as far as JRM is concerned. Anybody couldn't ask for a better place to race at. I mean, it's the epitome of racing. You've got great equipment, great resources, great people, great teammates. I mean, anybody else would be a fool to leave, but I think that sometimes my efforts go overlooked just because of the hype that surrounds this team, and I'm looking to possibly help out somebody else if I can, and just prove to myself and everybody else that I could do it pretty much anywhere is the basis for my decision. But as far as which team, I have pretty much decided. Haven't signed anything, nothing's final on paper yet, but they know who they are, and it's just going to be tying up some loose ends to make it final, and before too long everybody's going to know where I'm headed to, and what the plans will be, definitely. But yeah, I'm looking to just see what else is out there for a while, and you never know what could happen in the future. I could be back at JRM and could be looking into ownership someday too.
Well, being that I was responsible for your early success, I will go off and let the owner, whoever that may be, here on the race report that you're getting one hell of a driver, and you're definitely going to be missed here at Junior Motorsports. And good luck to you moving on from this season. And you still got a championship to win for us here in the Nationwide Series.
I believe you me, I'm trying.
Yeah, so am I.
So am I.
Yeah, Corey is too. He's 15 points back and running hard, and despite that hiccup here in Talladega, he was able to come back and get a top 5 finish out of the deal, and really looking strong. We're getting into a lot of good tracks that are good for racing. Michigan's a great track. Then we go to the short track of Richmond, and then we cap it all off in Homestead. And looking at the tracks itself, with the top 3, I see Corey running real well at Michigan. I see Richmond being a track that favors myself, and Homestead we all know is a track that Jason can excel on. So between the top 3 in the points and the 3 races that are remaining, I definitely feel like it's going to be a great battle, and it's not over yet, because Richmond is a track that Jason's told me himself that he isn't too... Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Jason. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it was one of these tracks that we were getting down to the bottom here, and you said you weren't too confident about, and there's tracks that I'm not too confident about, and I'm sure Corey's in the same boat as we all are. So we're all going to have hiccups, but we're all going to have tracks that we're going to be really good at, and I think at the end it'll get closer than the top 3 being 15 points apart.
Yeah, it's going to, as much as I hate to say it, it's going to be really, really tight. And personally, I don't want to see that. I know you two would love to see that, but I know Homestead is going to be a great race for me, given the luck factor, of course, if I don't get anybody else's incidents. And yeah, you're correct. Richmond's definitely going to be the dark horse in that field for me, and I'm not really looking forward to it, but just keep going out there and do what we've been doing all year, is practice and testing, and we'll get it right.
Corey, of those 3 tracks, which one you think is going to be your weakest point?
Homestead. I could just honestly tell you that now. Ever since I raced here, I've been pretty good at Homestead, and it's just been slowly decreasing down, and I can't never get the handle on that track. But I mean, who knows? Maybe King Crossover Motorsports might help me out with a car and unexpectedly might put me in the front. You never know. I mean, they haven't failed me yet, so I wouldn't be surprised if. Well, I probably would be surprised in a way if I get a competitive car for Homestead. But Michigan, it can I can be real decent there. But Richmond's the one I really look for to really capitalize, because I like the short tracks. I like Richmond. It's it's not one of the tracks I've won, but it's something I like too. It's one of the races I really do look forward to. Homestead. It's just, I ain't too sure about it. So I got to really just hammer down and do work for Michigan and Richmond, just in case there is any problems when it comes to Homestead.
And personally, for me, go ahead, Scott.
I'm just saying, look out for some of the new upcomers. Cody's been running really good in the Truck Series and Nationwide Series, and I heard he's doing pretty good in K&N, so I look for him. And James, James had a pretty strong car at Talladega, so I look at one of those 2 guys to have a strong run. I don't know if they'd be able to get a win just because it's so competitive. I mean, it's really hard to get a win, but I definitely look for those guys to get some good finishes by the end of the season.
And another driver, I wouldn't call him a newcomer, but back to the series for what seems like the remaining part of the season, is Nick Casey. He's back driving the Bombshell Motorsports number 32. He's on the entry list for Michigan, and if he goes to Richmond, the field better look out. He's real good at Michigan, knows his way around there, And what I was saying earlier before you dropped in was I feel like that personally for me, Homestead's the track that I'm going to put on the radar. I've statistically have been good there, but I don't feel like I run well, and I feel like I lucked into a lot of the finishes that I've gotten, whether it be fuel mileage or other cars falling out. But I think Michigan is the track that I'm most confident about, and Richmond I'm good at, but I think there's other drivers that are just as good. So Michigan, I feel like I might have the upper hand in being that I'm Jason's teammate. He'll probably be fairly decent there too. So we're going to go to Michigan next week, and another driver that we need to look out for is the guy here sitting next to us. Jesus, you're 28 points back. You're trying to rally into this thing with 3 points, or with 3 races to go. Michigan is a whale of a place to start, and needless to say, it could be the race that you go 3 in a row at.
Yeah, believe it or not, I don't know if you guys looked into it, but last time we were here at Michigan last season, I didn't dominate the race, but we won the race. I think it came down to like fuel strategy, can't remember correctly. But I don't know if many of you know, but Michigan's one of my favorite tracks. I mean, every time we go there, it's just fun racing with everyone. I mean, we're close to the manufacturers, and all the manufacturers want to win, especially Ford. I mean, I know Ford is is one of the biggest manufacturers up there, and they really want to get their Fords up there, and so it's going to be a really fun track. I mean, a really fun race.
Yeah, and definitely it is, and it's expected to be great. It's the day after 4th of July. I expect to see a lot of patriotic schemes, possibly, and we're running out of time here on the show, and there's a lot more stuff that we need to bring out real quick. Just one quick announcement. The Camping World Truck Series has been looking into bettering that series. What do we need to do to make this series better? And after a week's worth of discussion, the series officials have determined that from here on out, including this weekend's race in Milwaukee, the races will be every Sunday night at 8:40, and I stuttered there. I just noticed. At 8:40, and that's a third time. But anyway, it'll be Sunday nights fixed for the remainder of the season to try to help that series out, closing up the points battle, even though it's pretty much Jesus' hands down unless he misses a race or two. But they're going to do what they can to better the attendance. They pretty much want to have people being fun and have fun in this league, and that's a great way to start. They're looking into several other options to make this league more enjoyable. We know that we've had all this turmoil in there, so that's just a small step in going in the right direction. And something else that Scott actually brought to the table last week that we're going to start this week here on the Race Report is a trivia question. And Scott, I'll give you the luxury of maybe, unless you want me to do it, asking the question of the week. We're going to have a question of the week. What you do is down bottom here on the OCRL.com in the comment line, you're going to type your answer. The correct answer in the future will get a prize. Right now we're just having fun with it. So give it some practice. See who your guess is, and the following next week on the Race Report we'll have the answer and a new trivia question. So this week's question, Scott?
This week's question is, what driver in the OCRL Nationwide Series has the best average finish at the last track we were just at, Talladega Super Speedway? Put your answers down below, and like Jeff said, we'll unveil the answer at the end, and hopefully it'll be a cool thing to do, trying to get things kind of cool in here.
People involved.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And next season, we're going to have, when we do the Race Report, we're going to plan on revamping it and making it more exciting than it is now. If that's possible. Right now we know that we're very exciting. We got a great show going on, and we're going to give away prizes, real prizes, PSN cards, GameStop gift cards. We're going to give it all away. So practice, get your stuff right. We're going to start with this question next week. And look forward to it. Do listen to the Race Report next week to find out the answer. And I got to thank Jesus Andrade and Corey Bunch for stopping in this week on the Race Report. It's been a great show. It was a pleasure to have you guys. And on behalf of everyone here at the OCRL Race Report, I'm Jeff Baki Jr.
I'm Scott Ickes.
And I'm Jason Gaines.
And I'm
We'll see you guys next week. You can't do that, Jesus. You can't do that.